Che comes from reading. Reading came first. Reading is the real art form of insult.
Now you want to talk about reading? Let's talk about reading.
But I don't have to tell you because you know you're ugly. And that's shade.
Everybody get the same dance sound. Yeah. Everybody get the same dance sound. Everybody get the same dance sound. Yeah. Everybody get the same dance sound.
And I'm here with GypjaQ, and we're here to bring you all this week's hot topics. And remember, like Amanda Seal said, we didn't shade you, the facts did. All right, so we're gonna get into our first segment of the night, the leaves, and that's where we sip on the tea and read the leaves. All right, so we have our first topic for the night is Paula Patton's fried chicken. Now, earlier this week on Instagram, Paula Patton shared her fried chicken recipe with us. Her mother's fried chicken recipe that she was making for an event at her son's school. And yeah, that chicken, I don't know how you could do more wrong.
GWORL.
In such a short period of time. That chicken was so biracial. It couldn't pick a side. It was burnt on the outside and pink on the inside. Like, how you do that?
Where do we get where exactly do we season grease? That's honestly beyond.
I don't know where that came from, and I'm a little scared.
Like the first and primary concern is the salmonella she clearly ingested.
Washing the chicken with water, just
right.
Water alone, just like
cold
rinsing. Do you want to show them a little bit of the video?
Yeah, y'all gotta see this. This is peak. We were talking about light skin shit last week. This is peak light skin.
Epitome. Like this week in Light Skin Shenanigans, we have Paula Patton's mother's fried chicken.
Top chart.
Fried chicken day. Organic chicken. Fried chicken day. Organic chicken. Clean. Many. Sorry, chicken. And the ingredients. Avocado oil. Sorry, seasoning salt. Organic pepper. Organic paprika. For later, red hot sauce, you know it. So, really important, of course, one of the most important things if you're going to cook fried chicken is you got to clean it first. I've already cleaned some, but I got organic chicken. And I'm sorry, chicken. We're going to eat you today. But I'm going to make my mom's famous fried chicken.
I don't think that's famous.
We'll get to just clean it with some cold water, and we'll get to frying it.
There's a town missing that nobody's talking about.
So now we put the organic flour into a Ziploc bag, and you start our batches. So just put it in a whole bunch of chicken, not too much so it coats it, and you start to move it around. Okay, because you got to coat that chicken with the flour. And that is step 2. So we now have 138 chicken wings, which is about, 16 pounds of chicken. So we're going to have a moment to bless these chickens. Thank you for your life. I'm sorry we had to take it. You're so yummy. Thank you. Okay, so that is the end. I've got all of them in here. This is for Julian's school. And we're going to put a lot of love into these chickens. Next is avocado oil in the pan. All right. So
avocado oil.
You're going to get a good amount, but not too much, right? You don't want.
Well, in general, but still.
You don't want to soak them in my fried chicken. I fry them half in the oil, and then I flip them, and then I put the other half of the drumette in. So you'll see. We are about to enter step 3. Okay, so a little cooking tip. This is how I know that the grease is hot enough and ready for the chicken, is I take a little bit of the powder, like this, or the flour, and go like that. Not ready. You see that? It's not doing the bubble. So we gotta wait a little longer. I'll be back. So I think it's gonna be ready now. Let's see. Look it, come look. So it's doing what we need it to do. Boom. Nice and little fried. Look, okay, let's go. All right, so let's start with our first bag. And we're gonna put these in here. Yeah, and ooh, that's how you know it's good. That's how you know it's good. We're good now. Okay. Place these in. And then we're gonna begin the seasoning. So just wait. I think we're on this step 3? No, this is step 4. We're on step 4. Okay. Now the next process, step 5, is the seasoning. So it's just 3 ingredients that I use for seasoning these fried chicken. My mother's recipe, I have to, it says Lari seasoning salt, very important. Pepper, organic pepper. Paprika, organic. I try to do organic when I can. And if you can't, no big deal. We just do the best we can. All right. So I start to dust it with the Lari salt, right? Each chicken gets enough, maybe a little too much because I like it a little salty. Okay, each chicken getting a nice little dose of pepper. And we give it some paprika. All right, we'll make to the next step now. Look, that's a good color. Because I'll probably flip it again because I want this side to get all of the spices that the other side got, right? So I'm gonna flip it.
For the other side.
All right. So now we repeat. Okay, so these chickens are ready to go. Look at, they look pretty. They're brown. They got a little crispiness on it. And now, okay, I should have shown you. Put down some paper towels to soak up the grease. Right.
So useless.
It's pink. It's pink. It's pink.
People are dying. And if they're not, they've like developed immunities that we shouldn't have.
The immunity to eat raw meat? There you go. I guess still using that appendix. It's supposed to feel like this? We watched this documentary a while back about hunting, and there's this thing called buck fever. Look it up. We don't have time to get into it right now, but it's scary.
Yo. We really don't have the time.
We don't have this tangent to go off on, but buck fever.
It's a whole episode of something.
Look it up. Yeah. So we just watched this video. As a finicky eater, a super taster, what do you indulge in this fried chicken?
Absolutely no. I would die. I mean, like, there's death in that chicken. There's little salmonella in that chicken. And then even if it was cooked full through, as a super taster, I'm not into like that, like too many flavors. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is an overwhelming like thing that can happen. But one, if you're gonna use salt and pepper, it's got to be like there, right? And two, if you're gonna like, it's gonna need a little bit something other than salt and pepper. Like, throw some garlic powder on there, some onion powder on there, like
some Old Bay, some Saison, some adobo, some, like, I don't know.
Throw some adobo on there. You could have literally just threw adobo on there and left her alone, and that would have been
some poultry seasoning. If you don't know what adobo is, poultry seasoning is fine. Like, damn.
Like anything, girl.
My stomach is upset. Let's move on.
At least some garlic powder, bro.
So, and I'm gonna let you sort of talk about this more. Virginia natives and unscrupulous cultural appropriators, reggae band Soja wins the Grammy for best reggae album, confusing Jamaicans
worldwide,
everywhere,
globally. I mean, it's really unfortunate you're giving me so much of the floor because I don't have much to say. Why, like, we are not surprised.
The Grammys are a white institution.
You know what I'm saying? It's just is what it is. Nonetheless, it's outrageous. So still, how dare they? But then again, of course, right? it's honestly not even good like that. So it's like, damn, like over Spice.
Spice, there was so
That don't
even
make no
beyond Spice, there were so
sense.
many like better
Any
albums
of
nominated and like
literally almost anyone else could have taken it, and it would have been way more like we would have been alright. Even Spice would have been alright. Like we would like it's like at the end of the day, I'm more concerned with how Spice is feeling right now because her being so chocolate brown and thick. I know it's like, God damn it, I can't be chocolate brown thick and win to save my motherfucking life.
and
And I'm sitting here literally one of the most popping fucking reggae artists out. Period.
Spice is the
So
Beyonce of
ridiculous.
dancehall.
Literally, like
that's
so ridiculous. Fucking like Spice is everything, and it's like she can't fucking like get a Grammy over some white people in reggae. That's wild. That's wild. This is Macklemore winning.
again, all over again.
Yeah.
All over again. Well, Spice was really upset. There's like a little brief clip of like she did an IG like shortly after, but it's real quick.
Feel away, bitch. I feel away. I feel away.
Me too, girl.
We all do. We all do. And really, I'm glad like the fans, like many of us were out there on IG showing her a lot of love, you know, like reaffirming her and telling her that she's the best. And I know she's going to move on from this. We don't need validation from these institutions to know like our worth as artists and musicians and like overall creators. But it just goes to show why you going to do what white people want to do.
And the thing that sucks about, you know what I'm saying, even like we don't need it, but the thing that sucks about not getting it is that like we still live in that system where having that Grammy means more money in your pocket.
True.
And not getting it means not more money in your pocket. And not getting it sometimes can also be people be like, oh well, you didn't get that Grammy, and then suddenly opportunities start fading and things like that. Like it's really whack, you know. So I wish we as a people would stop giving so much credence to these institutions and continue to uplift and support each other, even though these systems and institutions drop us. So I got to say.
In other Grammy news, Jasmine Sullivan won her first 2 Grammys this year after 12 nominations. Like she's literally been nominated for a Grammy every time she's put an album out since her first album and never won one. And this year she won Best R&B album for her album Hotels, which was an incredible piece of work. I'm gonna get back to that in a second. She also tied with Best R&B Vocal Performance for Pick Up Your Feelings with supergroup Silk Sonic, that's Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak. I forget the name of the song. I ain't putting the notes because it's like Pick Up Your Feelings to anything else, like vocal performance. What?
Jasmine D. Sullivan tying with a man.
Tie?
Jasmine V. Sullivan tying with a man that's not the B. Slade. I don't know. I don't know about that.
To go back to her, like I fully feel the Best R&B Album award only because like Hotels was from the this is her fourth album, I believe, is the most like artistic and sort of like intensive work. It is the best she's done so far, and like if this was her masterpiece, I would say it was it because like it involved other people's stories and tying those together into songs. There were elements like there was a journey that it took you on. Musically, there were different textures and a lot of stuff going on. But then again, why do Black artists have to be at the absolute pinnacle of their talent when mediocre whites, they just hand them out like candy at Halloween?
She got it because she was talking about sex.
I feel like beyond that, there were other times when that still rang true, but I will agree.
I'm not saying that what you said about the pinnacle and things of that nature is necessary. You know what I'm saying, for us, but it's less necessary for anyone now. No one needs or requires that. She got it because she talked about sex, and they finally were like, okay, yeah, she gave us a sex album. Let's give it to her.
Because she did the thing.
Mm-hmm. Whereas like all her previous albums, she talked about everything, and that was that. You know, I don't know if I would say like musically this is her like greatest endeavor. I do agree that this is one of her most artistic endeavors in the process of it all. Um, you know, there's something to be said about, you know, interviewing people and really like getting into like other people's emotional state. Um, from like a physical place instead of just like, you know, imagining. Songwriters do a lot of imagining and like tapping into other people's stories via like just walking a mile in no one you've ever spoken to's shoes. But it's a whole nother and super deep artistic process to then like speak to people and be like, oh well shit, and then be like penning some things from that. So I do agree on that. But I feel like it holds up with everything that she's done thus far. Like it holds up. Everything is like she's just fucking amazing. Like Jasmine is just amazing. She's been amazing since she was in the Pamper, and like I still prefer some of her work when she was 16.
Jasmine is a gift to our generation, and I'm glad in some ways she's getting her just due. But I also feel like we need to, as a people, as like a black people, need to figure out ways beyond like the Soul Train and the Essence Awards and things of that nature to sort of like pay tribute to our own, because we're never gonna get that from.
Simply stop waiting for people to get Grammys to support them.
True.
Simply stop waiting for millions of people to know an artist before you start liking an artist. How about that? Let people have their own mind. That would start something for sure. That would definitely kick it off.
All right. Well, with that said, let's move on to our next segment. Now we're heading into Overcast. So Overcast is where we share some sad stories that have some clouds raining over them, but we want to share them just to let the people know what's going on. Well, these Overcasts tonight are only sort of sad. So Thomas Sankara's assassin. So Thomas Sankara was the president of Burkina Faso in the 60s. He was a revolutionary leader that took back his country from colonial powers during that time and made Burkina Faso like an independent country. He was assassinated, as the real niggas always are.
Right.
And so now the former president, Blaise Compaoré, has been sentenced to life in prison for being involved in his assassination. And the two men that actually committed the act are actually being sentenced to death. But this happened. The legal proceedings started in the 80s, and Thomas Sankara was assassinated in the 70s. So this has been a long time coming, and I guess justice was served, but you never like it. There were so many like elements involved. There's so many books. Like if you haven't heard of Thomas Sankara, you should definitely read up on Thomas Sankara. Like there's not enough time to like go in right now to what Thomas Sankara
stood for, really, yeah,
did for West Africa and his people. But I'm happy about this. I am.
Yeah. Like, yeah. I'm not gonna say like it's about time, but like low key about time. Like it took y'all mad long, quite literally. But we got here, and the people who did it getting the death penalty, I feel like that's apropos and that works perfectly. A lot of people try to like shy away from violence and think that like, violence justice can be had without violence, and it's like sometimes not so much, sometimes not so much. And I think when you assassinate a person that was freeing the people and like did what I'm saying, essentially like a lot of work that
and won the favor of the people, won it through legitimate election.
Right.
Like they voted the nigga in.
Right. It's not like you overthrew somebody, you know what I'm saying? So it's like this whole Like you assassinated them with the death penalty, and the people that were involved getting life, they've been living for a minute, and to spend essentially the rest of their lives, however short, in prison is still fucking crazy. So I say justice was served. Personally, took a minute, but it happened.
Our next story in Overcast is scientists in the UK. There was a study done on 13 patients that were receiving surgery, and traces of microplastics were found in 11 out of the 13 patients' lungs. We have pets, but you know, this is real life.
What is he even doing?
Our cat is rifling the trash right now.
I'm sorry, y'all. What is he doing?
In the UK, and we involving patients that were receiving surgery with 11 out of 13 patients showed traces of microplastics or polypropylene in their blood, in their lung tissue, like deep in the lungs. Like it takes stuff a while to get like into the bottom of the lungs. The lungs are porous and have lots of chambers, and they were just like, oh, it's down in there. The researchers assume there's more investigating and research that needs to be done, but they assume it's because there are microplastics polluting the water and the water table now. So now, like, you know, just might be floating around in there. I also have a little bit theory that, like, you know, people wearing cloth masks for so long, and cloth masks aren't, you know, the best in protecting against viruses and things like that, and they also degrade over time. A lot of fabrics have plastics in them. So, welcome to the new normal. Pollution in your body.
In your body.
In your body.
I mean, in your body in a new way, like pollution, like hard pollution, you know?
And we don't know what this is gonna do. We have no idea how this affects the human body at this point.
Right. Like hard pollution. There was like, you know, like smoke, you know what I'm saying? Secondhand smoke, that's technically pollution going in your body.
Smog, you know.
You know what I'm saying? All that, you know, but like we're talking about like actual like pieces of plastic
in your lungs.
In your lungs. Whew.
Not exciting news.
As the world burns.
But if you want to look more into it, The Guardian has an excellent article about the research those scientists are doing. I'm gonna make sure there's a link in the description. And for our final segment of the night, we're floating through the breeze. So these are just some light stories we want to touch on before we leave you that have crossed our path during the week, but are no less important than anything else we've covered here on No Shade All Tree. So our first story from Floating Through the Breeze is Minneapolis announces is near passing a bill that would make it illegal to have no-knock warrants. No-knock warrants are the epitome, but not the epitome, like one of the epitomes of white supremacy and state-sanctioned violence.
It's slave patrol in its closest to purest form.
We know that like a mere lockout in Minneapolis was killed by law enforcement when they were serving a no-knock warrant at the wrong address and killed him in the process of this no-knock warrant. And there was a lot of community outreach as always. We've been through this cycle many times. I don't have to go through the details with anybody black because we've been through this. I can't even count at this point how many times we've been through this in the past like 5 years.
It's a number we could never even fucking have because like all the undocumented shit. It's just too much. It's too.
Like he was sleeping. Did not know what was going on. They busted through the door, guns drawn, asking, you know, identify. He's like, what the fuck? Bang, bang, bang.
Anything could happen, yo.
I could be dreaming. Like some weird, like some weird shit like that. But I'm glad. It's crumbs. At the same time, I hope that the bill passes. I hope it's they're close to the point of getting it passed in their state legislature. That's not a pass, so I don't want to be too excited about this. So we're gonna move right along. Amazon has its first union in Staten Island. This past summer, excuse me, I should have. Christian Smalls was fired when he tried to organize his fellow coworkers at an Amazon fulfillment warehouse out in Staten Island. And after that happened, he was able to fully unionize that Amazon fulfillment warehouse in Staten Island, New York. And now that Amazon has its first union, Amazon has been a company that has not supported unionization among its workers. Like, we're slowly losing unions in this country because of things like right to work states, and workers' rights are being slowly peddled away across the board in favor of what just corporations want in general. Like, they didn't think he could do it. Like, he's black, he's not a college educated or like somebody that's pulled up and very like respectable in a sense. Like, he wears a do-rag and like, you know, he does his thing, but he was able to capture the hearts of his fellow workers and organize them to not, like, we were dying in fulfillment warehouses, but basically pretty much fucking slavery. So I'm glad that they were able like to do that, and we'll see, you know, how that turns out for other Amazon sites in the future. What do you think about this?
I mean, unionizing is definitely great if y'all are going to really work and really do the things that are necessary. Y'all don't have to strike. Y'all don't have to do things that are, you know, apparently, or like, you know, are, you know, job, what's the word? That could risk your job. You know what I'm saying? And make it happen. If you're gonna, you know, do like so many unions that will remain nameless currently, gonna do, you know what I'm saying, like them, and bow down on a regular basis, and then not only bow down but kowtow and cater to the people that you're not representing, with the people that you're speaking to, as, you know what I'm saying, like, that you're speaking to, that your representatives need you to speak to. Like, you're not actually doing your job. And if you are doing your job, then what is it? What even is a union? So at that point, you know, you had the charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent to win the hearts of the people. Hopefully you are about something and will convince them to have more heart and literally be like, nah, this is unacceptable. We are not dealing with it. We're just not. How about screw a negotiation? We're not dealing with that. And until they realize that that is just not on the table, period, that has to go. And then once that goes, we can come to a negotiating table. We ain't going to work. Fuck them. I'll work for Burger King. I'll task Rabbit. I'll get one of these many weed jobs as weed stores pop up across the country. Like, so be about it if y'all gonna be about it.
And our last story for our flowing through the brief section, hell has apparently frozen over, and Lee Daniels has apologized to Monique for the whole situation and the blackballment that happened after their run with Precious. You know, as some of you may know, over a decade ago, Monique starred in the Oscar award-winning film Precious that was directed by Lee Daniels. Monique had other engagements. She wasn't about doing the whole press tour for free. And there was a disagreement between her, Tyler Perry, which came in later as a producer, and Oprah, who was an initial executive producer, about her going out on tour. They pretty much badmouthed her in the media and called her difficult and all that shit that black women get called. And now recently Monique had a show in Staten Island and Lee Daniels was there and he apologized to her on stage.
I'm really proud of Monique for who I'm so
Sticking to your guns, girl.
ooh.
Auntie, sorry, not girl. She didn't get mad at me for my whole girl.
Ooh, sorry. This is deeply personal. I'm really proud of her for sticking to her guns, for keeping her integrity intact. You know, there's some things that she says that gets me looking at her sideways like I'm smelling some problematic thought patterns, you know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, as it pertains to how Hollywood and especially Black Hollywood does her and does each other, and what she said beyond her own experience, some of the things that she's brought up that, you know, she hasn't necessarily named names, but some shit that she's witnessed, you know what I'm saying? It's like, fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like, it happens and it happens crazy, and it's like Monique having worked consistently enough in this industry after that happened and to still have integrity enough to probably go into rooms where other people before Lee Daniels thought she was difficult and you know thought that she was wilding for saying excuse me, it's cold in here and y'all want me to literally be ready action every 2 seconds and I need to keep my voice warm. Excuse me, you know what I'm saying? Like stuff that Aretha Franklin would do, it was called difficult for, but at the end of the day, it was necessary for the concert to be what it was, you know? People need to be treated the way they are saying they need to be treated. And at the end of the day, if you're sitting here paying into this performer, by all means, give them what it is that they're asking for. And when people are working, they should get paid. And it is ridiculous of you to believe that you should then say to this Black woman that the work of promoting herself through this and this film is not tumultuous. We sat and seen Tiffany Haddish get on the red carpet and have to tell a woman that what she's wearing is not a costume. But going on a promotion tour is light work and doesn't deserve pay when she's going to have to deal with things like that on a promotion tour. Y'all lucky you got to get Tiffany Haddish on a red carpet in a space she wasn't getting paid to fucking be at. Y'all lucky y'all got to catch her there like that. But at the end of the day, I hope nobody's ever making any Black women go to places where we should know by now if there's anybody in the media there to try to talk to you about what you're doing, going to do these microaggressions. And then you're going to not pay Monique and then 9 times out of 10 beg and plead with her to not answer questions the way you know she wants to answer the question. Child boo. Pay her, especially if you want her to answer the questions the way you need her to answer them versus the way you know she would. Pay her. Y'all got a lot of nerve. Not paying. If anybody went on a promotional tour for that motherfucker and didn't get paid, y'all wildin'. Period. So Lee Daniels, congratulations for finally being on the right side of history for a second. And I hope that there's and I hope we don't catch you in no ulterior motives because we done caught you before.
Well, she's going to replace Octavia Spencer in his upcoming Netflix film. I believe it's called Demon Room? Demon House.
Do we have a pay comparison? Probably don't. I don't think they put that out yet. But at the end of the day,
Netflix, you will never know.
I'm trying to know. Because
we'll see. But she wound up on Netflix either way.
Right? Boom cat, but it's like if Monique is not getting the same points, then
Octavia's gonna get. I'm pretty sure.
That's looking like an ulterior motive to me.
I'm pretty sure she will. But thank you for joining us tonight on No Shade, All Treat. It's been a pleasure to share this week's hot topics with you. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube at Anukai Tree. And if you want to see more episodes, bonus content, and our special Anukai Tree merch, make sure you join us on patreon.com/Anukai Tree. And I've been Miss Patty. And
let's throw shade. Let's throw shade.
Good night, y'all.
I did put the energy in the music. I did put the energy in the music.